And I have a very good reason to be.
They're saying, hey, if you want these things, you need to put your money where your mouth is and prove that you want these things.
But you're missing the point. It doesn't. Look, we'd give it all away for free if it turned into something else. That's all. Okay, when people started downloading music for free, which I was a fan of, and I came out publicly, unlike about 98% of my brethren and sister in the music industry, and said, Napster's a good thing. If you look back, I was a person saying, this is a good thing. Okay? Sharing music is not a big deal, but what no one thought would happen is they stopped coming to concerts. Because something about not paying for something changed in their minds what a band meant represented in the culture. No one could have foreseen that, including me. Which saw a deterioration of the core musical values, which saw the rise of a bunch of shit. Right?
Like, you're so short, I didn't even see you.
Hello.
So it's kind of a counterpoint to what one of the people over there was saying about used to go to a bunch of shows, isn't it? For me, it's like the total opposite. I saw you in Oakland, and it was like, blew my mind completely. So I went to the Midwest, saw some shows, here I am, hopefully I'll see you in Boston and whatever. But it's, you know, a lot of the same songs from, you know, each stop, but the way that you guys play on stage together, there's like a certain chemistry that, I mean, if you guys haven't seen any of the shows or video from it or whatever, you're in for a treat. Like,
we're hearing a lot of that.
You guys totally gel in the way that, like, you guys interact. A lot of it's just,
it's a little bit,
it just makes it work.
It's a little bit like a play in that, you know, Cats or Rent or something. You try to come up with the best version of it, and then it becomes how well you perform that on a night-to-night basis. That's the way we have to look at it at this point. The other model we can't sustain. It wasn't working. I mean, if anybody saw the documentary If All Goes Wrong, that is the death of that model. And we continued that model on afterwards. It just did not work. We couldn't click. And then we had kept hearing, well, you're not playing enough hits. So then we started doing some tours where we said, okay, we'll play more hits and see if everybody's happy. It was worse. Because that's not why people go to shows.
Yeah.
Now that's why idiots go to shows. Idiots go to shows because they just want to see karaoke, and they don't care if there's corpses up there, like. Right? My point to the fan community is, the synchronicity of everything has brought us to this point. What is this point? We have complete control of the archives. Complete and utter control. We can release whatever we want. You want it, we'll figure it out together. Number two, you have a healthy, happy band that has years of new music to make.
Yes.
Can you properly support that in a
Yes.
positive, healthy way? That's it. I mean, to me, what could be better? You get everything you would hope for in the past and everything you could hope for in the present. So what's the problem? So that's why I say when you raise the word money, I go like this. Money is the problem both ways. It's the person who looks and goes, why is this worth that? We've got to get out of that consciousness. What really matters is the health and welfare of the band and the health and welfare of the business. The business can be run as a cool, modern version of the record business that we control, and we can come out looking like special. And you can vindicate and turn to your fans and say, there's a reason the Smashing Pumpkins are continuing on and all these other fucking posers are dead. It justifies why you've been a fan all these years.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity. But the opportunity is, don't make the same mistake. Don't break down on the $5.
Don't you think people have already kind of said, hey, here's what we'd love to see? Like, I know you're probably sick of it, but, you know, the final metric show.
Right.
People said, oh, we wanted to see that desperately. And if you guys, rather than kind of, oh, well, which Melancholy show we're released? Why not just put them all up, and then, you know, that person who went to that show in '96, who hasn't seen another show
Okay,
since.
I'll address both points on I should go. Let's start with every Melancholy show. Okay, I'm guessing it would cost us probably $5,000 to $10,000 per show. Now multiply that cost times 150. Okay, so right there you've got
a lot of money.
$500,000 of investment. Now what happens if we don't get that $500,000 back? I can't go to the fan community and go, hey, you said you wanted this. Bob over there in DC said he wanted it. As soon as I go, well, hey, we're not making our money back, you're an asshole. You haven't even gotten enough of our money Aren't you rich enough? It's like, what? It's not about that. We do want to put this stuff out, but that's not realistic. That's my point. So how do we do that? That's what we talk about internally. How do we do that? Hey, I would love it. It'd be awesome.
But do you think you could pull back those kind of old fans that, they go back to...
The old fans are gone.
Okay.
They're gone. They're not coming back. I'll tell you, this is the only way. This is the only way. This is me talking, okay? This is my opinion. And I'm inside Oz, so I don't have always the proper perspective. The only way you get that fan base back is if the kids approve. Is if the 20-year-olds decide the Smashing Pumpkins are as valuable as Led Zeppelin or Velvet Underground, just like the previous generation, or now the Beach Boys, right?
Yeah.
Who, when I was growing up, were like, Beach Boys fucking suck. Not me, everybody around me. Now the Beach Boys are like, oh, great Beach Boys, right? The Pumpkins have to be pushed up to a level where we belong musically, right? That's the only way the old fan base will come back. Because they've got in their heads that this is not an operation where they're going to get satisfaction. And you know what? I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because as I said to a fan backstage during the 2008 20th anniversary tour, if I haven't convinced you after 20 years, I'm not going to convince you tonight, I guarantee you. And the person said, but what if I don't like it? And I said, that's rock and roll.
Yeah. That's
What
rock
was
and
the
roll.
other thing? What was the other?
Metro.
Final Metro show. Listen, that will come, right?
Okay.
But what I didn't want was, like, I'll give you an example which will explain what you're asking. We had a meeting with EMI 4 years ago, right? President EMI, head of marketing, all those guys are fired now, so right? Head of marketing, head of internet, right? They hand me a piece of paper and they go, okay, here's what we want to do. We want to reissue Siamese Dream and reissue Melancholy, and we like a From the Era Melancholy live CD. That was their proposal. And I go, what about the first album, which is influential and was a platinum album? And what about the fourth album, which was influential and went platinum? And what about the B-Sides record that went platinum? What about all those other records? And they went, we don't care. Okay? So my point to you is if it's a sustainable model, then that's part of the sustainable model. If all a fan wants to do is just go through and cherry pick, I want my last Metro show, I want my Melancholy Live Era CD, and I'm going to ignore all the rest of this. I'm not even going to pay attention. I'm not going to tweet about it. I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to let people know. I'm not going to